So going from that, what does practicing look like for you now? And then what is the biggest waste of time that you've experienced when practicing, and what has been the most beneficial to you in practicing?
Well, I've never been very good at practicing. It's very odd, even though, um, as you said, I'm best known for playing solo. Um, I really don't like sitting in a room on my own and playing. I really don't. And I don't like playing for myself. Um, I need an audience, or I need to even imagine that I have an audience. Uh, I don't see the point in playing for myself. So practicing doesn't come easy for me, just to sit down and play. But most of my practicing goes on in my head. So as I said, I kind of internalize it, hear it, visualize playing it, imagine how I would play it. Then I might come in here, sit down with the guitar, and then I'll play it. And then I'll go and make myself a coffee, take the dog for a walk, come back in, then I'll play it again. While I'm walking, I'm thinking about it again. That's my practice process. Also, I've been playing the guitar since I was 4 years old, and I'm 69 now. So, it's it's a long time to be playing the guitar, and uh, I figured, I must. How much playing do I need to do anymore? I did a lot of that playing when getting things together when I was younger, and so actually I don't play very much. I don't even. I'm in a studio here full of guitars. I don't play very much at all. I never play. I never play to relax. I know some of my students have said to me that they don't play professionally. They say they like to come home after a day's work, sit down, and I can understand it. Sit down in their room with their guitars and just play and just lose themselves in the playing and just switch off. And I'm the opposite. If I pick up a guitar, I switch on. The creative juices just start to flow. So if I want to relax, then I don't play the guitar. I pick up the guitar if I want to create something. So it's a different way of operating, um, which some players can't relate to. I know, but I really don't switch off when I play. So I would never sit and relax. I go on vacation. I just come back a little while ago from a vacation. I never take a guitar with me. Uh, I just have a. I don't play, but I know some players that feel like they need to play every day. I don't. I don't even think about it. I do think about it, but I don't think about actually picking the guitar up. But I do think about music, and usually I come back to the guitar refreshed from that. Because sometimes you pick up a guitar and you end up playing the same old thing all the time. Because it just falls under your fingers. If I don't have the guitar for a while, that tends to fade a little bit. So I might pick the guitar up and just play something I've never played before. Uh, so breaking out of those patterns, because it's a pattern and shape instrument. So yeah, my way of practicing is a little different. I think there's not a lot of actually physically playing the guitar practice. Most of it's kind of going on up here.
Are there any things that you feel like were a waste of time, maybe in your past, with comes to practicing?
Yeah, a lot of things are a waste of time. Noodling. Well, you can sit down with the guitar and say, "Oh, I've been practicing for 2 hours." I say, "Well, actually, what did you practice?" Well, I just actually no, you're just noodling because it's nice. You just sit there and play, but that can be a waste of time. But there are times when you just hit on something just by sitting with the guitar and playing something. You go, oh, that. So that could be a waste of time. I think one of the biggest wastes of time I ever had, thinking about it now, when I first went to New York in 1973, I was playing in one of the bands on the QE2 going across the Atlantic. And because I couldn't read music, I kind of bluffed my way onto the gig, and then Mid Atlantic, the band leader, suddenly said, "He said you can't read, can you?" I said, "No." I told him I could, but uh, I figured if I could fake it for 2 days, and then yeah, I'm in the middle of the Atlantic, so
Yeah, they're not gonna
at
throw
least
you overboard.
well, hopefully not. At least I get to New York, then they can send me back then. Um, but he said, no, you should really, you've got to learn to read music, because we have to back cabaret act singers and things, and you should learn to read music, because I had such a good ear. I could just pick things up very quickly. Um, so I went down to 48th Street, Manny's, all the music stores were in those days, and I picked up some books, and I picked up a book of scales, guitar scales, exercises, and I went back and I took them to my cabin and I sat there, and I thought, oh, this is what you're supposed to do, and I sat there playing all these scales. Man, I was brain dead within a very short time. I thought, I can't do this. I didn't last very long with it, and for me, I was just doing it because I was told, yeah, that's what you do when you practice, and it wasn't for me. So if you need to find out what's good for you, and I only ever pick up the guitar. I've only, even when I was very young, when I felt like playing. If I didn't feel like playing, I wouldn't play. That's just the way I am. So if actually sitting down and trying to do that, and another thing, someone said, "Oh, you should learn classical guitar." So I spent a little bit of time trying to play some classical pieces that I never used, and I never used any of the ideas from it either. So I kind of, I kind of wasted a bit of time with that, really. So, um, but I guess we have to try these things out and see what happens. See what happens. But we can't be doggedly about it. At some point, you have to look at it and say, "This really isn't working for me." I'm this playing all the. Yeah, I know these scales. I don't need to keep going over them all of the time. I'm not an athlete. You know, I'm not in a gym.